David Tepper, aka David Trash. Oh, what do you know? David Tepper is back in the news again as he threw a drink at a Jaguars fan last Sunday. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about David Tepper getting embarrassed again, as it has become a common occurrence in recent memory. David Tepper got fined $300K for throwing a drink at a Jaguars fan, as frustrations have been growing within the Panthers fan base. In fact, the Panthers are guaranteed to finish the 2023 NFL season with the worst record in the NFL while having no first-round draft pick in the 2024 NFL draft. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So here it is. Did the NFL punish David Tepper enough? Heck no. I don't think the NFL came close to punishing David Tepper enough. If you guys really wanted to punish David Tepper, they should have suspended him a game. They should have suspended him multiple games if necessary. They should have fined him millions of dollars. They should have fined him $30 million, not $300,000. Holy cow, that is a slap on the wrist. That's like if I had to pay a $3 fine if I got in trouble for something. $300 million for David Tepper is nothing. Not when he's one of the richest owners in all of football. He's not just a regular rich owner. He is one of the richest owners in all of football, because David Tepper purchased the team back in 2018, and he purchased it for a very expensive amount in order to own the Carolina Panthers, which was the worst day in Panthers franchise history. You look at what David Tepper has done throughout the years. This guy has been a horrible owner for the Carolina Panthers. This guy goes through head coaches like people clean their toilets, because you look at the fact how David Tepper has been firing coaches left and right, how he's been blaming everybody but himself. You look at the fact how he fired Ron Rivera in December of 2019, then stated that the cycle of mediocrity would be broken with Ron Rivera being fired. Well, I can tell you this, David Tepper, you certainly did break the cycle of mediocrity. Now you are no longer mediocre. Now you are just bringing in a cycle of being garbage year in and year out. And then you hired Matt Rhule to a 7-year, $62 million contract. I don't know who gave you the idea to hire David Tepper, but you got the idea somehow, some way. And that's why I call you David Trash, because only an idiot would hire Matt Rhule as the head coach. I mean, this David Tepper guy is like a freaking Tupperware, man. If you guys don't know what I mean when I'm talking about Tupperware, I'm basically referencing a virus. You guys know those computer viruses that appear on the computer and everything like that? Well, that's what David Tepper has been to the Carolina Panthers. This dude has infected the Carolina Panthers with losing. You look at how he took the Carolina Panthers in 2018 after we made the playoffs 4 times in a 5-year stretch, and since then we've had 6 consecutive losing seasons with David Tepper as the owner of the Carolina Panthers. You look at how he has basically turned the Carolina Panthers into dumpster Daves. When you look at the Carolina Panthers, you're thinking, holy cow, this is a garbage organization. This is a garbage football team. This is a garbage excuse of a man in David Tepper. And then he has essentially turned the keep pounding mantra into the keep sucking mantra. Find ways to keep sucking year in and year out. And then you also have to remember about how David Tepper cut Cam Newton in March of 2020 after he claimed that Cam Newton requested a trade, even though that never happened whatsoever. And then of course he kept signing and trading for bums at the quarterback position for 3 straight years when Matt Rhule was the head coach. Of course he fires Matt Rhule in October of 2022. Then he hires Steve Wilks as the interim head coach. That was arguably the best move that David Tepper ever made as the owner of the Carolina Panthers. Steve Wilks ends up going 6-6 with the Carolina Panthers. Then for some odd reason, David Tepper decides, yeah, let me go ahead and bail on Steve Wilks. Let me go ahead and hire Frank Reich. And no disrespect to Frank Reich. Frank Reich is a capable head coach in the National Football League when there aren't people micromanaging him week in and week out. But he hires instead Steve Wilks. Very odd fit. And okay, I'm fine with that decision. I'm not going to say that I 100% agree with it, but fine. If you want to hire Frank Reich, it's your right to do so. Then Frank Reich wants CJ Stroud in the draft. We trade up to the number 1 overall pick. Then all of a sudden, David Tepper overruled him and said, no, Frank, you have to work with Bryce Young. You cannot work with CJ Stroud. You have to work with Bryce Young at the quarterback position. And obviously, Frank Reich wanted nothing to do with Bryce Young. These are not rumors. These are facts. This is what I've heard from people within the Panthers organization. Frank Reich and Josh McCown wanted nothing to do with Bryce Young at the quarterback position. They wanted CJ Stroud so badly. They had a man crush for CJ Stroud at the quarterback position. There is no question in my mind about that. Look, David Tepper, you should have listened to the people that you hired, because doing things your way has ended things disastrously. Of course, you look at the fact how David Tepper has essentially traded away all of the team's talent. You look at how Christian McCaffrey, he gets traded to the San Francisco 49ers. We don't even get a first-round pick back in return for him. Then we traded away DJ Moore last March, he's having a career year with the Chicago Bears, a place where wide receivers are supposedly known to die, at least statistically speaking. But DJ Moore has more than thrived with the Chicago Bears. So you look at how David Tepper has gutted the team with all of that talent. You look at the hires they has made, they have been horrible. I don't know how Scott Fitterer is still employed with the Carolina Panthers. If you guys don't know who Scott Fitterer is, he is the general manager of the Carolina Panthers. This dude has had a horrible track record of drafting players and signing free agents. The guy has not made any good moves whatsoever as the general manager of the Carolina Panthers, but it seems like Scott Fitterer is going to be back for the Carolina Panthers in 2024. That's because he is a puppet for David Tepper. David Tepper wants to be a football GM, but obviously he doesn't want to hire himself as the GM, so he'll just hire a guy that does whatever David Tepper wants him to go ahead and do. David Tepper promised everybody that the cycle of mediocrity would be broken. Well, David Tepper has been 31-67 as the owner of the Carolina Panthers. In other words, he has won less than 32% of his games. That's not even decent. That is horrible. That is 2010's Browns-esque, okay? That is just horrible whatsoever. And then, of course, since the 6-2 start they had in 2018, David Tepper has been 25-65 in the last 90 games. In other words, he's won less than 28% of his games. I mean, I think there are homeless people that could do a better job owning this team than David Tepper. You also look at the fact how he has also been a horrible businessman as well. He's been moving the Rock Hill facility. That project failed miserably. Now he's trying to move training camp to Charlotte instead of keeping it at Wofford. You also look at the fact how fans have been protesting from going to the Panthers game. A Panthers game has not been filled up in years, at least in the stands. You look at the Falcons-Panthers game from a couple of weeks ago, and you look at how there were barely a few hundred fans at the football game. I've seen more fans at a Division II football game. I have seen more fans at a high school football game that I saw for a professional ball club that is named the Carolina Panthers. I mean, he literally turned the Carolina Panthers into dumpster days, a place where no one wants to go spend their time on Sundays, even though they get to watch a professional football team, or at least that's what the Carolina Panthers are called. And before I go any further, I want to show you guys the clip where David Tepper threw the drink at the fan. I know there's no audio for it, but I want you guys to go ahead and watch it. Roll the film. Yeah, that clip right there just shows you the stupidity that exists in David Tepper's mind. If you guys wonder who that guy was standing next to David Tepper, that was Scott Fitterer. That's the general manager of the Carolina Panthers. That guy needs to be fired as well. But you obviously look at the conduct that David Tepper committed under his own watch, and obviously that was very embarrassing to see. I feel ashamed to be a Panthers fan just seeing David Tepper act the way that he's acting. It's just flat out embarrassing. David Tepper embarrassed himself about the Carolina Panthers again. It just feels like David Tepper has been doing this all the time, and that he's trying to get embarrassed, or that he's just mentally incompetent. David Tepper is one of the worst owners that I've ever seen. I think I would rather have Jimmy Haslam as my owner instead of David Tepper, and that's saying something because Jimmy Haslam is a horrible owner, but at least he can hire a good coach here and there, and at least he can get a winning season every once in a blue moon. David Tepper, on the other hand, can't even get a mediocre season. David Tepper has had 6 consecutive losing seasons. Even Dan Snyder managed to not do that. You know how bad you have to be in order to get 6 consecutive losing seasons? Yeah, that is absolutely pathetic. And the fact that your best year was your first year in the National Football League, that just tells you how little he actually knows about the game of football. David Tepper needs to step back, and he needs to hire a consulting firm where they're going to make the decisions for him, because clearly David Tepper has no clue what he's doing whatsoever. I'm looking at the statement that David Tepper made. It's from NFL.com, so I'm going to read you guys this quote. So it says, quote, "I am deeply passionate about this team and regret my behavior on Sunday. I should have let NFL stadium security handle any issues that arose. I respect the NFL's code of conduct and accept the league's discipline for my behavior." Where's the apology? Where is the part where you are sorry where you hit the fan in the head when you threw that drink at that fan? You realize that David Tepper basically committed a crime. What would have happened if David Tepper was on the streets? Heck, let's flip the roles. What would have happened if a fan threw a drink at David Tepper? He would have been banned for life at that stadium. David Tepper should have been suspended at the bare minimum. And for David Tepper to only get a $300,000 fine, shame on you, NFL. And it just shows you the embarrassing product that David Tepper has been putting in week in and week out. I feel ashamed to even say that I'm a Panthers fan at this point, but I am, because I am a Panthers fan for life, for better or for worse. But I'm starting to question whether it's even worth it to be a Panthers fan. And David Tepper, you suck as an owner. I don't think it's going to get better anytime soon. You keep firing coaches left and right. You get into fights with fans, and you have no clue what you're doing whatsoever. You don't know how to build a team. You don't know how to treat people. You don't even know how to bring fans into a professional NFL stadium. I mean, we are seeing fans show up more often to a Division II game than we are at an NFL stadium. So Well, that is why the NFL did not punish David Tepper enough, as he should have been suspended a game at the bare minimum. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Dustin Tran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter at Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.